Hello everyone, welcome to Ferdinand Tutorials. Now in this video, I'm going to be explaining to you how to write your chapter 2 of your final year project report. In my previous video, I've explained chapter 1, how to write your introductory chapter, which is the first chapter, and the mistakes to avoid while writing this chapter 2. So in this video, I'm going to be explaining everything there is to know about writing a literature review as a final year project student. Now, there are 4 sections in your literature review that you must know. Now, in those 4 sections, we have what we call Conceptual Framework, we have Theoritical Framework, we have Empirical Studies, we have Appraisal of the reviewed literature. Now, I'm not going to be explaining this here on the board. I've prepared a particular example using a specific project topic, which one of my viewers sent to me via my mail. So I'll be using it to explain how to write this particular chapter 2. So, stay with me to the end. If you've not subscribed to this channel, please click on that subscribe button so that you subscribe and like this video so that YouTube can recommend it to every other young students out there. Let's go to my computer. Look at the first one here. I say the first one here is your conceptual framework. Now you should think of your conceptual framework as your initial educated guess or mental model of how different biochemical factors or processes you are studying might interact. Now, it's your proposed map before you gather the data. It helps you clarify your specific focus. Are we there now? Now, before you even start gathering data, this is where you do your background study. This is where you focus more. Conceptual framework is more like, you trying to use the concept to explain whatever you have in mind, not doing any, review, not going on to, look at different literatures. No, that's not what we are talking about here. In your conceptual framework, it's just like the first step that you're going to take. Now, one of my viewers sent this particular topic, investigating the relationship between dietary antioxidant intake and oxidative stress markers in type 2 diabetes patients in Ibadan. Investigating the relationship between dietary antioxidant intake and oxidative stress markers in type 2 diabetes patients in Ibadan. There isn't one single grand theory that explains every single aspect of how dietary antioxidants interact with oxidative stress markers in diabetes patients. So you are going to create your own conceptual map. Now, creating your own conceptual map is more like trying to use your understanding of the topic. Now, what we are trying to say is this: investigating the relationship between dietary antioxidant intake and oxidative stress marker. The main thing here is, in type 2 diabetes patients in Ibadan. So, in your conceptual framework, which is your own idea based off of the concept, that is the topic that you were given. If you are given GCMS analysis of ethyl acetate extract of onion skin, the conceptual framework is the conceptual idea, the initial idea of what the topic is talking about, without forming any theory, without reviewing any paper, just your understanding. Google can help you out if you don't have a clear understanding here. You can go online and say, okay, you look at what is dietary antioxidant, what is oxidative stress. Are we there now? Like the simple Google understanding of that your topic, that is what we're looking at in conceptual framework. So here, back to the topic, you might believe that increased consumption of vitamin C and vitamin E, that is your dietary antioxidant intake, lead to reduced level of, malondialdehyde, that's MDA, a common oxidative stress marker. So the increase in consumption of vitamin C and vitamin E leads to reduced level of this common oxidative stress marker. We are getting somewhere. That is, the first idea. Are we there now? That is the first idea. And this idea, you might not have known it because maybe, you didn't study your biochemistry very well. You can go on Google and get the, easiest idea. This is more like the first conceptual idea of that your particular topic. Now, going further, higher consumption of polyphenols from local fruits similarly leads to decreased reactive, that's ROS, reactive oxygen species levels. And perhaps you can also hypothesize that beta glycemic control, that's blood sugar management, also plays a role in reducing oxidative stress, and that dietary antioxidants might indirectly contribute to this. I don't know if you are getting what I'm saying. These are more like, the foundational idea that you can get on Google, on, your dictionary about antioxidants, the reactive oxygen species, oxidative stress markers. Now, your conceptual framework, you form it like, a diagram. This is how it's going to look. Your conceptual framework will visually represent this relationship. Dietary antioxidant intake, that's what I said, vitamin C, vitamin E, and polyphenols. Now, what does this dietary antioxidant intake does? It improves antioxidant defense system. Are we together now? Now, when it improves antioxidant defense system, what will happen? It will reduce the oxidative stress markers, which is the MDA. What is MDA? Malondialdehyde. And ROS. What is ROS? Reactive oxygen species levels. And when it reduces the oxidative stress markers, it will better manage type 2 diabetes complications. We've actually summarized your topic in conceptual framework. I say that in conceptual framework, what we are looking at is, you thinking of a conceptual idea, an educated guess, a mental model of how your, topic must look like. Are we there now? That's what conceptual framework is all about. So if you've done this, you use arrow to represent your different conceptual ideas. Are we together now? Use arrow to represent your different conceptual ideas. You can do these things with your different topics. Any topics that you were given, follow through this idea. Are we there now? Form a mental model. You can use Google. Do you understand? Understand the main topic. Look at the topic here. Investigating the relationship between dietary antioxidant intake and oxidative stress markers. So we're looking at the relationship between dietary antioxidants. What is dietary antioxidant? Like vitamin C, vitamin E, polyphenol. Now, and oxidative stress markers. That's the relationship between those dietary antioxidants and oxidative stress markers. What are oxidative stress markers? Your MDA, that's malondialdehyde, and ROS in type 2 diabetes. So how are they intertwined in type 2 diabetes, patients in Ibadan? In my conceptual framework, I was able to, deduce that the more dietary antioxidants I intake, the more it will improve my antioxidant defense system. And when it improves my antioxidant defense system, it will reduce the oxidative stress markers and help me better manage type 2 diabetes complications. This is a conceptual frame idea. Are we together now? Now let's move on to the next one, which is theoretical framework. Now, in your theoretical framework, remember, I'm using this example as a biochemistry student. This topic is a biochemistry topic. Are we there now? So now, let's move on to, using biochemistry example also. We are still using our topic. Now, what are we talking about in theoretical framework? Now, in theoretical framework, we are saying that what we are looking at here is you are borrowing an established or well-known or widely accepted theory or principle from biochemistry or related field to explain the underlying mechanism of what you are studying. Are we there now? Now, it gives your research solid scientific foundation. As a final year project student, your theoretical framework is not literature. You are not reviewing literature. Your theoretical framework is you are looking at what are the theories. Are we there now? What are the propagations? What are the accepted, biochemistry principles that I can use to explain the underlying mechanism of my specific topics? Now, still using the particular project topic, here I can continue with, this, investigating the relationship between dietary antioxidant intake and oxidative stress markers in type 2 diabetes patients in Ibadan. Now, you might use the free radical theory aging. Are we there now? This is a particular theory I found out when I was reading, about this topic. These are theories that explains, oxidative stress theory of disease. Are we there now? So now look at what happened. I said, what is the theory? Now, this particular theory, which is the FROTA, free radical theory of aging. Now, the theory proposed by Hamann in 1956 and later expanded postulates that living organisms generate harmful byproducts called free radicals, like our ROS, during normal metabolic process. These free radicals can damage cells, proteins, lipids, and DNA, leading to oxidative stress. Are you following what is happening? Which contributes to aging and various diseases, including diabetes and its complications. The body has antioxidant defense systems like enzymes and vitamins. We've been talking about vitamins to counteract these free radicals. Are we there now? This is the theory. Are you getting what I'm saying? We've talked about the theory, which is FROTA theory, talking about the free radical theory of aging. Now, how am I going to use this theory in my thesis? How am I going to use this theory to explain the particular topic I'm working with? Now, you will explain that your study is grounded in the understanding that diabetes often involves increased production of free radicals and or impaired antioxidant defenses, leading to chronic oxidative stress. This is from this theory. You can also propose from this particular theory. These are the deductions. Dietary antioxidants, according to this theory, help to scavenge these free radicals. Dietary antioxidants like your vitamins and enzymes, scavenge by bolstering the antioxidant capacity and thus mitigate oxidative damage. Therefore, you are using the principle of oxidative stress theory to explain why you expect dietary antioxidants to have a beneficial effect on oxidative stress markers in diabetes patients. Your study is essentially testing a specific application of this specific or established theory. Now, the interaction between conceptual framework and theoretical framework is that in conceptual framework, you are just trying to use the concept to explain your thesis, trying to understand each of the concepts, what they mean, using it to explain your thesis, looking at how they rub off each other to explain your thesis. Meanwhile, theoretical framework is you trying to find a theory about your particular thesis topic, using it to form a foundation of how you are going to write your thesis. I hope you are following. Now, under empirical studies now, we are entering into literature reviews. This is where we are now going to look at articles. Now, this section, this is where you review past research papers, journal articles, and theses, where other biochemists or nutrition scientists or even, enzymologists, depending on your particular topic, have actually performed experiments, collected samples, and analyzed data, and even published their findings on topics related to yours. Now, you group them logically. Now, what you are going to do, I will show you what you are going to do for your topic. Let's use this particular topic, for instance, investigating the relationship between dietary antioxidant intake and oxidative stress markers in type 2 diabetes patients in Ibadan. You are going to divide your thesis topic, into subtopics. If you have GCMS analysis of ethyl acetate extract of onion skin, you divide those topics into subtopics. That is how you are going to review complete literatures. Don't just go and be looking for topics, because this is a new topic. If your supervisor gives you a topic that has already been done, that means you're not doing any project, you are reviewing an article. Do you understand? So, but if you are doing a project here, a huge topic, investigating the relationship between dietary antioxidant intake and oxidative stress markers in type 2 diabetes patients in Ibadan. This is a thesis topic on its own. So for you to review a literature that will help you to form a solid idea about this your thesis topic, you are going to break down this your topic into subtopics. For instance, look at what I did here. I did studies on oxidative stress markers in type 2 diabetes. I broke it down. I followed from here. Oxidative stress markers in type 2 diabetes. Are we there now? I did mention patients in Ibadan. Now, that's the first subtopic. Now, I move on part of specific dietary antioxidants on oxidative stress. So, I look at dietary antioxidants on oxidative stress. Are we there now? Dietary what? Antioxidants in oxidative stress. I've looked at oxidative stress markers in type 2 diabetes. I'm breaking my subtopic down. The next subtopic will be impact of specific dietary antioxidants on oxidative stress. Remember, we have different antioxidants. We have vitamins, we have enzymes. So I can choose a particular vitamins or a particular enzyme that I want to work on. Are we there now? Let me not go and say, I want to use all the antioxidants. There are different antioxidants. So I'll choose a specific antioxidant that I want to work on. Are we there now? So I can also further break down this topic on studies on dietary patterns. Now, your topic will determine how many subtopics you are going to have. That is why you need to be very careful. So in each of these subtopics, I will now look at research articles under them. Are we there now? In each of these subtopics, I will look at research articles under them. For instance, studies on oxidative stress markers in type 2 diabetes. Here you will discuss studies that have measured various oxidative stress markers in diabetes patients, showing these markers are often elevated compared to healthy individuals. Now, you look at all these studies. In each of these studies, whenever you look at a paper, when you get a paper, the first thing you're going to look at the topic, look at the abstract, look at the conclusion. discussion and results. So what will be in this bracket here will be a study by James and John. You put the year. Are we there now? Now, the conclusion is what you are going to write for us here. Are we there now? This is a work. Whenever you get a particular research article, when reviewing a research article, when you get a particular article, say for instance, let me show you something in a research article. Say for instance, this is a research article. Let me get a research article Now, look at this particular research article. A lectin with levicidal potential from the fresh leaves of Agelanthus brunes, Vantieg Lawrencia. Now, this is a particular research article. If I want to cite this research article, I'm going to say Imo I Johnny. Are we there now? Or I say Imo I. Are we there now? Imo IJ eto, because here now there are Adeneku, Oludele, there are three different individuals. So I will just say eto, open bracket, put the year, and then I'll come here, look at the conclusion of this particular research. That is, if it aligns with what I'm doing, I will look at the conclusion, look at what they say, and then summarize it and write it down. I don't know if you are getting what I'm saying. Back to business. So here, this is the first work, the first subtopic. These are the articles I could find, and then I reviewed them. I say studied by Alake in Lagos, measured plasma MDA levels in cohort of 150 type 2 diabetes patients and found significantly higher levels compared to. Now, these are their works. I'm not adding anything. Remember, in empirical studies, that's not where I impute my voice. This is not the place I impute my critical voice. This is the place I review articles. All articles, I'll bring them down. I will divide the articles because I've already divided my topic according to what subcomponents or subtopics. So I will now come here, and then in each subtopic, I will look at articles under those subtopic. I will bring all the articles together and then start referencing or citing them under those particular subtopic. I will go to the next subtopic. I will do the same thing. That's what I will do until I'm finished with the subtopic. This is what happened there. And now I go to the next one, which is appraisal of the reviewed literature. Now, in appraisal of the reviewed literature, this is more like where I impute my voice. This is where I bring in my critical voice. I'll bring in my critical evaluation. I'm not just here, no longer listing studies. I'm going to be analyzing them. Are we there now? Here, remember, in my empirical study, I've listed the studies I'll be working with. Are we there now? The studies that aligned with my subcomponents. So here now, I will start reviewing. I will start imputing my voice. I will start analyzing those studies. What they did well, what they missed, how they relate to my specific study. I don't know if you are getting what I'm saying. Now, also using that specific project, the reviewed empirical study consistently underscored the prevalence of elevated oxidative stress marker and compromised antioxidant status in type 2 diabetes patients across various Nigerian population. Alake and Okoro, 2021. Obina et al. Obina et al. Simply means Obina and maybe 3 or 4 or more other individuals. The year they published this particular article was in 2020 and this one 2022. That means these two research articles are saying the same thing. Now, I will say that this provides a strong rationale for investigating interventions aimed at mitigating oxidative stress. Now, I will also look at the next, article that I'm working with. I will say why studies like Amino et al. Amino is the first individual in that particular publication. Et al. Is 3 or 4 or more other individuals. Are we there now? 2, 3 or more, 4 other individuals. Now, have demonstrated the efficacy of specific antioxidant supplementation. There is a relative scarcity, many studies. All this, I will come here. This is where I will start adding my voices. These are my voices, which may not fully translate to human. Furthermore simply means I'm coming in. Furthermore is my word. Furthermore, studies often don't account for the variability in dietary habits specific to the southern Nigerian context, leaving a gap in, all these things I'm doing here is adding a voice. In empirical studies, it's all about subdividing these topics, getting 3 or more articles under each subtopic. Are we there now? That will help me, impute my critical voice when doing my appraisal. So I would say that my current study aims to bridge this gap by, I will state my aim. If you listen to my chapter 1, if you watch that video on chapter 1, this is where I'll put, my unique contribution, what my research is focused on. By quantitatively assessing multiple dietary antioxidants and a panel of oxidative stress markers in type 2 diabetes patients within Ibadan metropolis, thereby providing a more holistic understanding relevant to the local population. This is literature review. I'm done. Are you getting what I'm saying? Now, this is more like a model of what your literature review should look like. Every topic in biochemistry, every thesis topic, every project topic in biochemistry must follow through this process. First is conceptual framework. Conceptual framework is your own idea, your basic foundation. You can use Google to browse about those topics, those concepts. Use it to form a particular, a model for that topic. Theoretical framework is all about, you trying as much as possible to look at existing theories that have existed and use it to formulate an idea for your topic. And then if you come to empirical studies is all about you trying to show your supervisor that you are reading articles. You are not going to copy all those articles. What you are going to do is, in each article you read, you look at the abstract, you look at the discussion, and you look at the conclusion. Discussion and results and conclusion. Now, in those topics, those your research topic, you will divide them into subcomponents or subtopics. If you divide them into subtopics, you can have 3 or 4 subtopics. Now, in each of these subtopics, this is where you now download 3 or more research articles for each subtopics. Are we there now? And then use it in the next one, which is appraisal, to add your critical voice. What you understand, what you think should be added, what happened to the research, what is lacking. Are we there now? Use it to review the literature. In each statement, you cite them and then you add your critical voice. You can add critical voice by saying, furthermore, more so. Are you getting what I'm saying? And then you also add the limitations of the study by saying, but is a way of adding limitation. But this particular study failed to acknowledge this. This is where I'm coming in. Are you getting what I'm saying? So that is that about your literature review.